imagine that I think I'd be able to beat it. It's kind of cold out here. Thank goodness I bought these gloves at a travel store.
I'm nervous, bro. Me too.
Hello everybody, welcome to this week's video. This week will be a race week, so we're going to take you through just all the goings-ons and what's going to be like as we kind of prepare for a mid-block half marathon here. Also, before we get started onto that, I hope y'all enjoyed the intro. I spent a couple hours doing that in my free open source software, so I hope you enjoy, and we'll take you through Monday on this first run here after that big long run last week. So yep, enjoy the video. As for this first run, this Monday here, I have a 1 hour just sort of recovery, easy paced run. Sadly, I had to do it after work. So again, it's going to get a little darker at the end of this video, but nothing much is going on, so the lighting shouldn't be a huge problem here. Alright, I'll finish here. As I got some sunlight during that first 30 minutes. Yes, it was just a 1 hour recovery run after that long run last week, as you've seen in that last video. And see if we can get my face in this here. A little bit of reaction. Doing good, doing good. Alright, it's a new week, new mileage. So reset, start from zero again. Don't get hung up over any particular week while you're training. And yep, see you in the next run. Of course, while I call it a race week, not necessarily a race week like your A goal race, still, it's always important to kind of taper a little bit so that Thursday and Friday run will be much easier and less intensity. Whereas today's Tuesday workout, we're still going to have a bit of sort of working reps to do here. We're going to have some hill repeats, so I'll let myself get there and allow myself to describe that workout for y'all. Alright, it's Tuesday now. Only 2 days removed from that long run from the last video, so my legs are still recovering. Of course, 21 miles is a lot of mileage and pounding on the legs, so I'm still a little sore, a little bit of sting in the quads or the calves. So again, nice easy run to get into it. Tomorrow we should have a bit more of a intense session, back to the regular training load. But today will just be a 70-minute run, easy to moderate pace with some 20-second hill sprints here. So I'm back at a convenient park location that I know has a nice long enough hill to do those. And of course, as you notice, it's just much warmer, much sunnier now. I got shorts and shirt weather here. And today we're also rocking the Odd Monster 3s. Should be releasing soon here. But yeah, catch you on the run. Alright, it's Tuesday now. And like I was talking about earlier, it looks really beautiful outside here. Nice warm temperatures. Didn't have to layer up at all. Just my regular spring, summertime running gear. But yeah, kind of like I described before, it's a little bit, much harder than it has been before lately. But I always appreciate this type of weather, and I'm sure we're going to get more of it throughout the weeks here as we keep on progressing. But yeah, it's always also good to see just much more people out and about on these greenways that we have. And just how, seeing everyone else kind of enjoy the weather, enjoy the kind of amenities we're lucky to have. Because I realize not everyone everywhere has some nice greenways like I have here. I actually have 2 different greenways nearby, both of which are around that sort of 10 to 11 mile length, so you can get a lot of stuff done on the greenway without it ever feeling too old or getting samey at all. You can do some workouts, there's some hills along it as well. But yeah, we're just carrying along through the warm-up portion of the run before we hit those hills. And of course, with people out and about, it's never just sort of walkers or dog walkers. You might also encounter some people also running about here, kind of like this fellow here, always getting at it as well. The funny, awkward thing about kind of running in the same direction is that I'm never sure if I should, speed up really hard or really fast just to get by them so they're not intimidated by me. And even then, I'm also worried about just approaching or coming from behind. I don't know if I should shout out at them. That seems pretty aggressive as well. That's sort of on your left type of deal. Or maybe I should just, usually I might start stomping just a little bit harder and eventually they'll notice and get to the side without much issue. It's also kind of weird to wave at them after I pass them, because obviously I'm not going to force anyone to look behind at me and twist their neck for me. So I kind of wave as I pass, and I kind of flick my hand up so they only sees the back of my hand. So I'm not sure how people interpret that gesture often, but that's just some of the funny, awkward things that us runners sort of encounter when we have a nice, lively greenway like I do here. And just like you saw me show off at the start or before the run, how the Cloud Monster 3's on. Don't ask how I managed to acquire a pair this early, but it's a great shoe to test out. It's kind of their more mid to high cushion, not necessarily max cushion shoe. I have not tried the Monster 1. I know that one is pretty beloved, fairly soft. The 2 was a slightly different sort of deal. I think people found it kind of firm despite just kind of the comfier fit, but the tongue was pretty flat, not much padded material. But the 3 right here, as reviewers and previewers say, kind of steers it back towards what the Cloud Monster 1 was. And I do kind of prefer these sort of mid to higher cushion shoes rather than this max stack shoes, just because it doesn't feel like a lot of shoe on foot. I think it's broken in pretty well. Whether that's due to the extra Cloud Tech holes or not, I'm not sure. But the upper's plenty comfortable, and of course they're purple, and I love purple. But yeah, that's just a quick little review on the shoe. I wonder if On will let me keep this in here. If so, then you will hear this blurb as well as we approach the workout portion of the run.
Said earlier, it's shorts and shirt weather. Like, it feels like it's nearing 70 actually, but I'm definitely not acclimatized to that because, 2 days ago, it feels like it was like 35 in the morning when I started that long run. Well, and here in Tennessee, it hasn't been, close to 70 since like September. Even October was cool for the most part. Not this hot though, but, gotta get ready to embrace spring training. We're at a good spot for these 30-second hill repeats here. Just got 8 of them. Nice jog down, cool down after each rep. Shouldn't be too bad. Okay. This is good. 4, 2,
Alright, so while I let myself speed up this footage here and let y'all watch that in the background, I guess I'll give a little bit of a usage update on the Insta360 camera, since I talked about acquiring that in the process of just starting this channel, because I think it'll allow me to just capture some good footage in the moment while running and allowing me to talk with my hands pretty freely. And of course I am also using it during these hill reps where I'm running pretty intensely. So again, some people might worry, oh, the camera might slip down the headband or the beanie I might wear and put the hat clip on, but the hat clip grips pretty well. It's a pretty tight little thing, so it's hard to kind of pry it open and slide out of the hat band or the beanie within. But I managed to do it a couple times and wear it pretty comfortably. I think the little mat section that rests against the top of your head as your head gets a bit sweaty does grip onto your head, so it shouldn't slide down too much. But sometimes I've been using the camera at a weird angle. I've kind of had it flat, but you can actually open it up a little bit and kind of change the angle to capture a bit more what's on front of you towards the ground, kind of like where your eyes would look while running. So I've done that, and I also would just worry about how the center of weight is kind of shifted, so it might slide down the head, and it's actually happened to me a couple of times. But a simple solution I found was just to use some gaff tape and again pry the clip open and put that in on both sides, and that will just grip whatever material you put inside of it really well. So it's allowed me to kind of do these sort of sprints and 5K-ish paced efforts where I'm stomping pretty hard. I mean, the Athlete Special and Nick Bester have figured out how to use the camera and keep it on their heads for their 5K, 10K efforts. But yeah, I think the camera's working pretty well. I think I have some good quality footage I've captured here, pretty smooth. I can speed it up, slow it down, edit it how I want. But with all that said, I guess we'll kind of describe the half marathon I'm doing here. This is the Strawberry Plains Half Marathon. It's hosted by the Knoxville Track Club, a pretty large, sizable track club, so I think they know what they're doing when it comes to hosting races. It's out in, Strawberry Plains, Tennessee, so a bit past Knoxville, about a 4-hour drive for me. But what's kind of the intention with this race here? So my coach, usually at this time of year, early February or mid-February, he would kind of race or train on a Hilly Half Marathon as he prepares for Boston. It's just a way to get some race stimulus in and running over hills in that sort of environment and situation, because obviously Boston's going to feature plenty of hills, and of course this still gives me plenty of time to recover and maybe do a quicker, shorter race like a 15K later on in March, and then we kind of taper down in April for Boston. But yeah, the course is pretty hilly here, like I said. It has about 740 feet of climbing. The course isn't complicated at all. You kind of go out and then you kind of hit a T intersection, you kind of go upwards and do a little loop, and then you come back to that intersection, go straight across, do an out and back, and then take one final left turn and kind of have a flatter portion those last 3.5 to 4 miles. Great opportunity to speed up and kind of conquer those hills and see how your legs are at. So yeah, it's going to be a fun race, hard effort, and we'll see whether I PR or not. There we go. All done now. Now for the rest of the run here. Catch towards the end. So yeah, just finished the run here. It's actually still really hard. Those last 15 minutes of effort or moderate gray zone pace was starting to, work the quads and calves a bit there. So still was a little tight from that long run, but we got it done. Got a quick sip of water actually at the car before that 15 minutes. So it was a small little walk break there, but I think I needed it as we start to acclimatize to the 60-degree weather, because I think it's mostly here to stay now. No more of that 30 degrees, feels like 10 mile per hour wind gusts and whatnot. But yep, like I mentioned earlier, we're going to be talking this week about racing and how we can integrate that in our training schedule. So yep, catch you on the next day, or catch you Wednesday. So yep, welcome to Wednesday. It's going to be a bit more of a substantial workout today, and sadly, the sun is setting, so I'm definitely doing it in the afternoon. I am much more of a morning run kind of guy. I'd rather be tired at work rather than during the run after having done my shift. But sadly, sometimes you just gotta have to suck it up and just do it in the middle of the day or at the end of the day and try and capture as much sunlight as possible. It's definitely going to get dark during the workout portion of this run, but I'll try and get as much in the sunlight as possible. But yep, I'll let myself describe the workout here. Alright, so today I have a small mini fartlek, well not mini, but a fartlek workout. Got about a 25-minute warm up here. Warm up to, about 650 pace. And then after that, 4 by 4 minutes at 6 flat with 2-minute rest. And then 4 by 3 minute at about 550 with a 1.5 minute rest. And then 4 by 2 minute at about 5:45, 5:40 with a minute rest. So 12 intervals here, 12 fartleks, varying paces again. That's what coach likes to do here, but got off a bit early at work to catch some daylight this afternoon. So yeah, catch you on the workout. And once again, we're rocking the Sonic Blasts here. I'll see how they do at that 5:40 pace. Should work pretty well. But yeah, catch y'all later in the run. So yeah, like I described there while I was running, we're gonna have a fartlek style workout with 4 reps at 4 minutes at 6 to 6:05 pace and a 2-minute rest. 4 by 3 minutes at 550 to 555 with 90-second rest, and then 4 by 2 minutes at 535 to 540 with 1 minute easy. So basically 12 different fartlek reps with half rest after each, speeding up throughout the run as well. My coach again likes to integrate these sort of pace changes within a workout, whether that's over a long run or these shorter reps. But I was a little interested in seeing how these Sonic Blasts would fare at those faster 1 minute paces, or the 2 minute fartlek sessions, so at 5:35 to 5:40 pace. And I think they worked out pretty well here, just talking about it afterwards, especially also on this hilly terrain here, since coach asked for that as well. I managed to accumulate about 700 feet throughout this run here, so pretty equal to what I will get, or kind of the density of the hilliness as the half marathon coming up. So again, really good hill strength we're building here. And yeah, I'll let y'all carry on and let myself kind of shout out the splits and paces here throughout the workout. And also at this point during the week, it still doesn't necessarily feel like it has settled in the fact that I am about to race a half here, trying to attempt to do something big here since I haven't ran a half in a little bit. But I mean, these mid-block races never really elicit the same sort of locked-inness that the A goal race kind of has for me. So I'm pretty kind of chill and relaxed throughout this week, just kind of getting my workouts in, not stressing super hard. But I think there's always an upside to that, just not being super stressed or super nervous. Just kind of taking all that pressure off yourself while you just kind of go day by day, as you know you're going to be kind of well rested and prepared. You're in good hands with your coach. Just trust your coach that he will get you to the start line of any race kind of ready to go.
All right, that was like 6:04 pace, so perfect. Last of the 4 minute reps here. Let's get it. About 20 more seconds. 2, 1. Let's go. One more. 6 feet of that. 6'5", 6'5". The challenging thing about this is that this hill right here, nice and steep and long. A deadly combination. We just gotta hold 6 minute pace up it. Crest up the hill and then we keep going. I should do it. Yeah, perfect. 6:05 pace average. Awesome. That's the 4th rep, so now we're gonna start the 4x3 minute. Shouldn't have to hit that steep hill earlier anymore. I won't get out far enough to turn around each rep. 2, 1, 3 minutes. Rep number 2. Beautiful sunset. Nice pink sky. 2, 1. Okay. 3 minutes. 5:53 pace. Nice.
It was starting to get pretty dark on this run as this workout took a good bit. So I'll just flash the rest of the splits here. And we'll just kind of transition into the next day here, Thursday, with an easy recovery run. So yeah, those are some pretty quick paces, and at that time I figured, wow, I'm gonna have to try and run at this pace for up to a 15K or a half marathon. How am I gonna do that? If it was kind of hard here, it's gonna be kind of hard during the marathon. But of course, race day is different, and I will talk a bit about that in general here in this next clip.
So yeah, I got myself a little checkpoint here. It's Wednesday now. As you can see, I am layered up way more than I was Tuesday, but that's just how Tennessee weather works. At February, approaching springtime, it's hot, it's cold, like that Katy Perry song. But like I said, this is race week now, and it's kind of hard to judge these kind of mid-block races because it kind of introduces a unique kind of pressure on the athlete. Because I don't necessarily run a half marathons as often as fulls, but my PR still is fairly good here with the 1:15, so it's kind of maybe you should PR, maybe you should be able to PR again, because again you don't run the races often. But again, that's that kind of unique pressure when it comes to these mid-block races. Oh, you want a new 10K, new 5K PR, things are looking good, but I think an athlete shouldn't be afraid to fail as well when they try out these mid-block races. It's kind of just a high stakes kind of workout, so again, maybe the whole workout doesn't go well, maybe the last few miles are just completely off, but honestly I'm really excited still. I think it's gonna be fun. There's some good competition. I've looked at previous year's results for this race, so again, it's gonna be a nice group of people to run with rather than running by myself for these sort of big long runs or weekend workouts that I have. So Yeah, catch you at the end of the run.
Now let's enjoy some aesthetic shots I've gotten since I've acquired the selfie stick for the Insta360 camera, and you can show off I can show off the race shoes here that I'm going to be using, the Adios Pro 4s, and they're full minty glory here. See, I haven't necessarily ran in the Adios Pro 4s as often at all, so I think it was worthwhile to take it out on this shakeout run on Friday here, and then after that we'll start traveling or packing my bags first, and then travel out to Knoxville and Strawberry Plains, where you'll see me just pack my bag and check in at a hotel there. I don't necessarily splurge a lot on these smaller, lower stakes races, so you're going to see me pull up to a motel of all things. Since I am still a working class fella here, I'm not going to be able to hit a $200 hotel at every trip I take, so yep, see you at the hotel. Yeah, usually for these day trips, I just pack the bare essentials, an outfit or two to walk about, maybe eat dinner there, and stuff to brush my teeth, some soap and shampoo, a couple underwears, at least 2 pairs of good socks, one for the shakeout, one for and of course one for racing as well. Just kind of finding my racing outfit here. As my shorts, I don't think I washed them this week. My laundry basket got kind of big here, but I also had a couple other sort of obligations today, so I will be getting there a little bit later. I know, of course, if you're making this a 2-day trip, any sort of race, you'd want to have some time to get there with some daylight to go around and eat dinner here. But sometimes that's just what happens here, so I will arrive around 7:30 at night. Of course, that's not too bad here. Still got plenty of time to kind of eat, sit down, relax, and just sort of lock in for the race tomorrow. $40 on 15?
40 on 15.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good one, y'all.
Hey, you too. It's 40. 40 should do it.
He asked why I haven't released a vlog.
The other day, I said like 12 hours ago.
We made it here, so not too late right now, but finally gotta get checked in and get set up to relax and chill out, and we can talk more when we get to the hotel room, so see you there.
The room number is 107.
All right.
That's the only.
But I beat you to a pulp and somebody wants to come to our side. Full-time Pro inflation system for the factory direct price. Ship your entire order.
Alright, so now we've just checked into our hotel here, and it's about 8 o'clock at night here, so I'm having a good night rest here, be able to wake up in the morning with a reasonable amount of time for that half marathon tomorrow. I figured now would be a good time to kind of discuss what the butt is in the title of the video here, after I kind of announced I'm racing a half here in the middle of the block. So with any kind of mid-block races, it's kind of a way to test your fitness, maybe kind of get a new PR if it's kind of an off distance for you. So for some people, they like to train for marathons. They might run a half marathon in the middle of the block and occasionally nab a PR as well in the process there. Because again, they don't run the half nearly as often as the full like I do myself. I've technically run more fulls than half marathons I mean, my half marathon PR is still pretty alright, and I don't imagine that I think I'd be able to beat it tomorrow here because it is a fairly hilly course, not necessarily a PR worthy course or capable course, and of course, but of course there are other factors. I'm much further along in the block than my last PR, but still the amount of hilliness in this course here is going to be much more than what I did on my PR course. So the main goal of this race is kind of to get a nice workout in, it's gonna be a good effort. I'm gonna cut the race into 3 parts. First part will be close to kind of that marathon goal pace. Second part will speed up a bit, and maybe that last part, or the last 4 miles, we can kind of hit that half marathon PR pace. So it's gonna be a good workout still with a good amount of warm up and also some running afterwards, kind of a 20 to 30 minute cool down. So it will be a good mileage day still and a good bit of stimulus since we're in the middle of the block here still. So we're still building fitness, still getting that fatigue in our legs. And of course, another factor here is that long run from last week. Still very fatigued from those 21 miles, I feel like. So again, not necessarily super comfortable or super peppy and ready to kind of tackle a sub 116 or sub 115 half at the moment right now. I kind of like to refer to these midweek race or mid-block races as kind of low stake races, but kind of high stake workouts. Kind of like the 21 miler last week, you still want to get a good amount of stimulus in, hit those splits properly, and get a good bit of effort on those hills, especially on this course tomorrow. But again, there's a couple other reasons why one might want to race in these sort of low stakes races, high stake workouts. Again, you know, these events that we go to and travel around for, it's always a good opportunity to meet new people. And so, you know, you always want to have that kind of environment where you're not necessarily to be super locked in, you know, for like Boston, of course, I will still be meeting tons of people at Boston, just kind of having a good time. But here, it's also just a good opportunity to kind of run with other people in a high stakes workout because, as you noticed in my last video, I was alone for those 21 miles. So having people around me, and especially at this race organized by the Knoxville Track Club, it will definitely attract some people definitely faster than me. So I will be able to kind of run around a good group of people to kind of hit those workout paces with and kind of have a bit of camaraderie going on. You always like to enjoy that when you're just running with tons of people. You never know who you might stumble upon throughout the race. So yeah, in summation, you know, tomorrow is basically going to be a good effort over those hills because it's going to kind of simulate the hills that I might encounter on the Boston course, especially those Newton hills. I'm going to have a good 700 feet of climbing here, similar to the ratio of mileage to climbing as that long run workout. So not too scared of the course necessarily, and I should be confident enough to be able to hit those paces, especially with 2 easier days before this, including today's just simple shakeout run. And with all that finally said and laid out for y'all towards the end of this video here, I will now finally chill out here and just try to fall asleep, wake up around 6 in the morning, and we will see y'all out at the race course. Speaking to how secure it is. Alright, just woken up here, got out of the hotel, woke up around 6 o'clock or 5:40 I believe, and just took my time using the bathroom multiple times. I'm sure we've all kind of done that sort of routine before. But it's still a little chilly out in the morning before the sun got out, but the sun is kind of well out now. Just arrived at the school, only 10 minutes away, so again, did not need to get up that early, so this was a nice kind of convenient set of logistics for me here. But yeah, I'll get my bib on here and just chit chat a bit in the car before I get started with my warm-up. I got my bib. It's kind of cold out here. Thank goodness I bought these gloves at a travel stop. Should get warmer close to 8. My warm-up for these sorts of race days have kind of evolved a bit throughout the years. Usually I might do a 2-mile warm-up and that's kind of it, but nowadays I've learned that doing a little bit of a threshold, kind of a 3 or 4 minute threshold, is a really good way to kind of get the legs ready to go, especially for these shorter races like a half, 15, 10, 5K. Of course, you don't necessarily need to warm up for like that for an entire marathon, but for this half marathon and the paces I'm going to be trying to hit here today, definitely pays to kind of warm up here and allow yourself not too much time at the beginning of the race to just wake up your legs here. Now we're at the start line here. It is now finally go time, so see y'all on the course. Alright, so I'm just now getting off the start line here. I kind of started near the 130 pacer because not everyone was lined up at the front there. The horn kind of went off a little bit unexpectedly, just kind of, not randomly, but just without much announcement, so we're just getting going here. But yeah, what's the plan for these first few miles here? So coach wanted me to split the race into kind of 3 sections. The first third will be about 6-minute pace, 6:05 pace, kind of warming up again. Not the most intense sort of effort for me, and what my kind of goal marathon pace is, and what my half marathon PR pace is. But so yeah, and then the second quarter, we're gonna attack some hills here. Like I said, after this turn is kind of where the hills start, mile 5, 6, 7, and 8. So it's gonna speed up just a little bit there, kind of attack the hills a good bit. So I think I hit more of sort of 550s to 555s. And then that last quarter of the race, just kind of charge it in and kind of see how fast I can go. Basically, let it rip. But yeah, the course is a bit hilly here. Of course, we're out here on the sort of countryside of Tennessee. And of course, Tennessee is known for being somewhat hilly, at least middle to east here. But we still got, a good amount of sort of course support here, just making sure we go in the right direction. And there's still a good bit of competition here ahead of me, so there's some bodies to chase. And of course, since I started pretty gingerly there, I kind of have a good string of people to just kind of catch up with and kind of make progress towards, people to aim at. So again, that's always that benefit of just kind of racing with other people, training with other people. It's always another body here to kind of focus on and just kind of lock in right behind them and just kind of work your way towards them. But I am going to kind of spoil things here a little bit because the camera I wore, I kind of mispressed a couple buttons, so I kind of spent a lot of time recording in the middle of the race. So I kind of drained the battery there, so again, I'm not going to be able to get the ending. That was going to be a fun shot to do and just kind of edit it, but sadly, I mispressed or misinputted on this camera here. I mean, I still love the camera, of course, not heavy on my head at all. I mean, of course, I managed to race with it on my head here. It's only 50 grams, so that's great and all. Of course, I need to wear a hat and headband anyway, so that was not much of a bother either. My head didn't get all super sweaty because of it at all. But yeah, like I showcased before earlier in the week, I'm rocking the Adios Pro 4s. Now, they're kind of one of my softer racing shoes I've owned. In addition to the Vaporfly 4, that's also a fairly soft racing shoe, especially compared to the other shoes I've raced in before. My first kind of racing shoe with a carbon plate and whatnot was the Saucony Endorphin Pro 4. I was actually waiting for it on the day that it dropped because I was like, I need a racing shoe for my first marathon here, so why not splurge on just a real dedicated racing shoe and some foam, or that kind of high-tech foam there at the time. So yeah, the Pro 4 was just about to come out, so I really thought it was kind of a waste to kind of look for a pair of Pro 3s, despite how everyone talks about loving that one. Of course, the Pro 4 served me very well, so I think I respect the shoe enough for that. But today, the Adios Pro 4, bit of a softer shoe. I think a nice shape it's got here. It's kind of like shaped like the Boston 12, which I also own. So the forefoot is nice and kind of spoon shaped or whatnot, a bit wider there. And of course, in my size 9 here, it fit really well. Didn't have to worry about my toes at all, kind of scrunching up or any sort of hot spots where it's on the balls on my feet or anything like that. I actually had that kind of issue with the Endorphin Elite 2s. Of course, my foot was a bit injured, or my Achilles was, so I think that kind of affected my stride. So I definitely want to give that shoe another try here. But the Pro 4s were fantastic, carried me to this PR here. Very consistent throughout the whole race. I think plenty of energy return, never felt heavy, never felt like I was fighting the upper or the kind of rocker that it might have, or the toe spring. So yeah, we're right here kind of in the middle of the race, kind of miles 8 to 9 here. So we're going to get into that last quarter where I speed up a good bit. But of course, this is kind of the last of the hills. This is a really long downhill. Of course, we had to climb up it before. But the fun thing about doubling back and just kind of going to these races is always just kind of cheering and encouraging all the people along the course here. It's always a fun sight to see. It's also kind of humorous when they're kind of amazed by just kind of how fast I'm striding here. But I'm always amazed at anyone who comes out and does this sort of deal. Running 13 miles is no small feat for anyone at any time, especially on a hard, tough course like this, on a slightly chillier day, but pretty ideal conditions nonetheless. Very little wind out here, but of course, I always love to see kind of other people getting at it. Running's not just about me and what I can do and what I care. Not that I only care about my own running. I also enjoy seeing other people here get at it. We're all just encouraging each other. And of course, the little bits of crowd support we also have. And I always kind of make sure to say something to everybody here. I guess that's a little bit of my personal running etiquette. You know, I'll nod at everybody, I'll wave, I'll hit them with the good job, to keep it up, to let's go. Of course, when racing a half here, it is kind of hard to kind of come up with something new every time because I am huffing and puffing, especially as we head towards the last 4 miles here, where I'm going to start ripping it and kind of hitting, or what I turns out I actually started hitting sort of 5:35s to 5:40 pace miles here in the middle towards the end. So I just kind of kept that momentum going off the uphills and coming off the downhills. And so I must have looked like I really was kind of flying and just cutting through the air to the other runners here. And of course, this was only a half marathon, so I didn't really take any fuel during the race. But of course, during my warm-up, I took a UCAN there. That was actually the only breakfast I had. I was kind of semi in a rush to get to the school here so I can manage to find some good parking. That's where the start line is, so I didn't really stop at a gas station or whatever to grab a little breakfast biscuit or whatever. So I think that UCAN served me well. I didn't really feel like I was crashing at all. I didn't necessarily need to use any of the water stops here. I definitely drank enough water beforehand as well. I usually like to get my 6 to 8 ounces. But again, good effort here. Like I mentioned earlier in the clips here, my camera ran out of battery here. I mispressed a couple of buttons. But yeah, I just kind of talked about what I finished the race in. Came in second place, ran a 114.35 here. So it's roughly about a 65-second PR versus my previous one of 115.41. So yeah, I'll probably flash some finish line photos here. Kind of enjoy that. I love always the race photography as well. Capture some good action shots that I couldn't by myself here. So it's always great to include those in the video whenever I can. But yeah, I'll kind of let myself kind of share my raw reaction there sitting in the car.
Alright, finally back to the car. When that race just plain awesome. I had a great time actually. The weather was pretty perfect, pretty ideal, I'd say, 35 degrees, nice and cool, Only had to wear a singlet and a regular just kind of running t-shirt underneath. Had a little headband to hold the camera here. Right, just got done eating up some biscuits and gravy and sausage and bacon, so kudos to the race organizers and the school that they're hosting at. Very nice race. Honestly, I might come back just because of the experience I had here today. And if I hadn't mentioned it already, second place overall, new PR of 114.35, so roughly a 65-second PR. I wasn't expecting the PR, I just didn't know where I was going to be at after having ran that long run last week. And just, this is a tougher course, 700 feet of climbing, whereas my last PR it only had 100 feet of climbing. So it was a big difference, and I didn't know what it was going to be like today. And of course, we got a nifty reward for coming in second place. Got these really awesome gloves, actually, with some finger holes and a mitt you can kind of pull over. So I could definitely use this when it's colder and when I just want to kind of change the music on my phone. I don't have to finagle with sliding it on and off my hand. It looked like a very comfy glove I earned here, and of course a little gift card for a vitamin shop. Maybe I'll grab a nice drink here as I drive through Knoxville and back home. But yeah, the Adios Pro 4s were pretty good. I mean, I didn't notice them on my feet too much. Didn't feel like my toes are swelling up or hitting the end of the shoe. So very comfortable, very effective here, as you can tell with this new PR. So yeah, the build to Boston continues, and these are some good signs here. And coach likes it. Coach thinking, kind of indicates a 236 fitness again on a hilly course. So good things, big things coming. Keep working, keep grounding our way there.
So yeah, despite all that nervousness throughout the week and that feeling of not being locked in, turns out I guess kind of the body kind of knows when to prepare itself for competition. If you ever kind of perform or do anything with any of your hobbies, running or outside of running, your body kind of knows how to get ready and kind of deal with it. And of course, in the moment when you start just competing or performing, you kind of forget all that apprehension you might have, just perform like you normally would. It's routine, your body just knows how to do it. But yeah, this PR, really good. Just gonna soak it in for the next day here. And yep, catch you on the next week's video.